Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are dissecting something that I think every single person listening has uh, agonized over at some point.
Oh, for sure.
It's that universal, stomach churning, heart racing experience of the crush.
Mm.
It's that moment where your brain just short circuits, your palms get sweaty, and
Yeah.
you are plagued by that one agonizing question. Do they feel it too?
It's the oldest question in human history, right?
It has to be. We've all been there trying to decode a text message like it's the Rosetta Stone or, analyzing a glance across a crowded room.
And our toolkit for answering it is usually, well, it's pretty pathetic. We pluck flower petals. He loves me not.
Right.
We ask our friends to overanalyze a three-word sentence for hours.
Yeah.
We rely on vibes.
Exactly. It feels like this mystical, completely unreadable fog. But the mission of today's deep dive is to blow that fog away. We are moving beyond the guessing games.
We have to.
We are looking at the hard science of mutual attraction. And I want to be really clear here. We are not talking about picking up people. We aren't talking about manipulation.
No, this is not about games.
We are talking about biology.
That's the key distinction. Attraction isn't just some poetic feeling or a social construct. It is, at its core, a biobehavioral event.
A biobehavioral event. I like that.
It's a cascade of chemicals, of involuntary muscle movements, and neurological shifts that are actually, well, they're very difficult to fake.
So you can't just will it to happen.
You can't. When you are attracted to someone, your body is screaming the truth.
Yeah.
Usually long before your mouth says a single word.
That is what I find so compelling about this. We all think we're so smooth, right?
Oh yeah, we think we're playing it cool.
But you're telling me that if I know where to look, I basically have X-ray vision for my next date or my next interaction.
In a sense, yes. If you understand the mechanisms, why the eye dilates, why the voice drops in pitch, why the feet point a certain way, you can start to see the hidden language of connection.
Okay, so to keep us grounded, because this can get very abstract very quickly, let's imagine a scenario.
Good idea.
Let's take two hypothetical people, let's call them Alice and Bob. They're meeting for a first date, maybe at a coffee shop. Throughout this hour, I want to use them as our crash test dummies.
I love that.
I want to know what's happening inside their brains and, what's happening to their bodies from the moment they walk in.
Perfect. Alice and Bob. Let's see if they fall in love. Or at least see if the science says they should.
Okay, so before Alice and Bob even say hello, before they've even seen each other across the room, you're saying there is an internal storm brewing.
Oh, absolutely.
Why does a crush feel like a medical emergency? Because honestly, sometimes it feels like I need to go to the hospital.
It feels like a medical emergency because, neurobiologically speaking, it kind of is. It's a crisis. The brain is entering a state of high alert, of intense focus. To understand the spark, we have to look at the brain's architecture. We don't just have one simple love setting. We actually have three distinct but intertwined brain systems for mating and reproduction.
Three systems. I always just thought it was, attraction, one thing.
No, it's much more nuanced, and it explains a lot about why relationships get so complicated. You have lust, you have attraction, and you have attachment.
Lust, attraction, and attachment.
And here's the kicker. They can operate independently of one another.
Meaning I can feel one without the other.
Exactly. This is the root of so much human drama. It's why our relationships can be so messy.
Okay, so break those three down for me. Let's start with lust.
Lust is the first one. It's the craving for sexual gratification.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
It's driven primarily by the sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen, in both men and women.
Right.
It's the engine that gets you looking for a partner in the first place. It's raw, it's primal, and it's somewhat indiscriminate. It's not focused on one person.
Right. That's the I want you signal. Or, more accurately, I want someone. Exactly. Then you have the second system, attraction. This is the obsessive phase. This is what we colloquially call romantic love or the crush.
This is where Alice and Bob are potentially.
This is where they are. This system is driven by the reward pathway in the brain, specifically high levels of dopamine and norepinephrine. And this is where you focus all your mating energy on one specific person.
So that's the I need you phase. The target has been acquired.
The target has been acquired. And finally, you have the third system, attachment. This is the long-term bond. That sense of calm, of deep security, of union you feel with a long-term partner.
Okay.
This system is driven by the bonding hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin. This is the I'm staying with you feeling.
So in a perfect world, Alice and Bob feel all three for each other. They lust after each other, they're romantically attracted, and they form a deep attachment.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
But you're saying that biologically, these wires can get crossed.
They aren't crossed so much as they just run on different parallel tracks.
Yeah.
You can feel deep attachment to a long-term partner. You love them, you trust them, but you can feel a sudden jolt of lust for a stranger on the train.
Hmm. Or you can feel intense romantic attraction, that obsessive energy for someone you aren't actually sexually compatible with. But the gold standard of that spark, what we're analyzing today with Alice and Bob, is when attraction and lust ignite at the same time.
Let's zoom in on that attraction phase then. Because that's the high, that's the drug. Why is it so ridiculously intense?
When I say it's a drug, I am not being metaphorical.
Oh, really?
Not at all. When Alice sees Bob, and if that attraction system kicks in, her ventral tegmental area, let's call it the VTA, it just floods her brain with dopamine.
The VTA.
The VTA is like the brain's little dopamine refinery. It manufactures it and pumps it out to the rest of the brain. It's the exact same pathway that lights up when someone takes cocaine or wins a massive gamble.
So it's a reward loop. My brain is saying, yes, this is good. Do more of this.
It's more of a craving loop. It creates intense focus, motivation, and goal-directed behavior. The goal being, get closer to that person. But it's not just the immediate high. Get this.
Okay.
There is a protein called delta phos B. And if you trigger this reward pathway enough by obsessing over your crush, checking their texts, delta phos B starts to accumulate in the neurons.
And what does it do?
It actually changes the physical structure of those neurons. It
Yeah.
rewires the brain to want more of that person. It is remarkably similar to the structural changes neuroscientists see in the brains of people with long-term drug addiction.
That's terrifying. So when we joke about being addicted to someone, we are actually describing a real structural change happening in our neural pathway.
Yes, you are literally re-architecting your brain to need that person. It's profound.
Wow.
And that dopamine spike is paired with its partner in crime, norepinephrine. That's the energy chemical. It's essentially adrenaline.
Ah, okay, so that explains the physical symptoms.
Exactly. The racing heart, the sweaty palms, the inability to sleep or eat. It's your body's fight-or-flight mechanism, but it's been repurposed here for alertness and pursuit. Your body is getting ready for a major event.
So Alice is sitting there, high on her brain's natural cocaine, shaking from adrenaline. She's a complete mess before she's even ordered a latte.
And it gets worse. Or better, depending on how you look at it.
Wow.
While dopamine and norepinephrine are skyrocketing, there's another key neurotransmitter that actually drops: serotonin.
Serotonin levels go down. But wait, I thought serotonin was the happy chemical. I thought love was supposed to make us happy.
It does, but in a chaotic, obsessive way. And this is the key. Low levels of serotonin are clinically associated with obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD.
Wait, are you serious? The same chemical signature?
Yes, if you were to look at the blood work of someone in the throes of early, intense romantic attraction, and you compare it to someone with untreated OCD, the serotonin levels are remarkably similar.
That's incredible.
This explains the intrusive thinking. This is why Alice can't stop thinking about Bob, even if she desperately tries to. It's why you check their social media 50 times a day. It is a chemically enforced obsession.
That puts a whole new and frankly more compassionate perspective on the crazy and love trope.
Right.
It's not a choice. It's literally a serotonin crash.
Precisely. You aren't crazy, you're just chemically compromised.
Yeah.
And there is one more mechanism we have to mention in this internal storm, which I find just fascinating. We've all heard the phrase, love is blind.
Sure, of course. We ignore the red flags. We pretend they don't have bad breath or that they aren't rude to the waiter.
Well, we do that because the brain literally shuts down the machinery for critical judgment.
Shuts it down. How?
When you are looking at someone you are infatuated with, fMRI scans show that the amygdala, the brain's fear and anxiety center, deactivates. It goes quiet.
Okay, so less fear.
But it's not just that. The parts of the frontal cortex responsible for negative social judgment and critical thinking also go quiet.
So we physically cannot see their flaws as clearly.
Effectively, yes. The neural machinery required for your brain to say, this person is kind of annoying, or that was the dumb joke, is temporarily unplugged.
But isn't that dangerous? From an evolutionary standpoint, shouldn't we be more critical of a potential mate, not less?
You would think so. It seems counterintuitive. But if we were too critical, if Alice analyzed every little pore on Bach's face or every scammer in his speech, she'd never pair off with him. She'd find 1,000 tiny reasons to run away.
And we'd never reproduce.
Evolution prioritizes reproduction over perfection. So biology puts these rose-colored glasses on us to facilitate that initial bond. It blinds us to make us brave enough to connect.
It's a feature, not a bug.
It is absolutely a feature. It's nature's way of saying, just get together already. You can figure out the problems later.
And does stress play a role here? Because first dates are, the definition of stressful.
A huge role. Early love is a stressor. And we see that in the body with a spike in cortisol, the stress hormone. There's even a term for it, love-induced hypercortisolemia.
That sounds like a disease you'd see on a medical drama.
It feels like one. But here's the paradox. Moderate stress actually encourages social bonding. When we are stressed, our instinct is to seek comfort and connection. So the anxiety of, does he like me, actually drives us closer to him to relieve that very anxiety. It's a beautiful biological trap.
So to recap, Alice is stressed out of her mind, chemically obsessed, blind to any potential flaws, and high.
Correct. It's a miracle anyone can form a coherent sentence on a first date.
It really is. Okay, so that's the internal storm. It's a hurricane in there. But unless Bob is a neurosurgeon with an fMRI machine in the coffee shop, he can't see Alice's serotonin levels dropping.
Right.
So how does this chaos leap out? If I'm Bob, sitting across from Alice, how do I know this is happening to her? Where do I look?
The first place to look, and the most honest place, is the eyes.
The eyes have it.
They really do. And specifically, you're looking at the pupils. The technical term for it is mydriasis.
Mydriasis. Okay, sounds technical.
It is. But the concept is simple. It's pupil dilation. And the reason it's the most honest signal in the entire human body is that it's controlled by the autonomic nervous system.
Meaning I can't control it.
You cannot consciously control your pupils. You can fake a smile, you can fake confidence, you can even fake a laugh. But you cannot fake your pupils dilating. They tell the truth whether you want them to or not.
So why do they dilate when we like someone? I thought they just dilated for light.
Traditionally, yes, that's their main job, to open up to let more light in so we can see better in the dark. But the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight system, also triggers dilation when we see something stimulating or appealing.
Why?
It's as if the brain is saying, I want to see more of this. Give me as much visual data as possible. It's an information gathering response driven by attraction.
How big of a change are we talking? Is it something you can actually see?
Oh, it can be significant. Pupils can expand up to 300% during moments of intense appeal. It's noticeable. Of course, context matters. If Alice and Bob are in a dimly lit romantic bar, everyone's pupils are going to be big. That's actually one of the reasons why candlelit dinners are considered romantic.
Right.
The low light forces pupil dilation, which mimics the signal of attraction, which can subconsciously trick us into feeling more attracted.
That is a total life hack.
It is. But if they're in a brightly lit coffee shop in the middle of the day, and Bob looks at Alice and her pupils just bloom into these huge black pools, that is attraction. Plain and simple.
And I assume the opposite is true. What happens if they shrink?
Yes. Pupil constriction. If we see something unpleasant or repulsive, the pupils shrink. The brain wants to see less of it. It's a rest and digest rejection response from the parasympathetic nervous system. Right. So big pupils are a very, very good sign.
But I can't exactly pull out a ruler and measure their pupils without being super creepy. Hold still, Bob. I just need to check your diameter.
Probably not a good first date move, no.
So what else is happening with the eyes?
Watch the eyebrow flash.
The eyebrow flash.
It's incredibly fast, about 1/5 of a second. It's a rapid, subconscious lifting of the eyebrows the moment someone first sees you.
I feel like I do that when I see a friend I haven't seen in a while.
Exactly. It is a universal human signal of recognition and openness. Monkeys do it. We do it across all cultures. It says, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I like what I see.
So it's a welcome signal?
It's a micro-expression of welcome.
Yeah.
If Alice walks into the coffee shop and Bob sees her, and his eyebrows shoot up and down instantly, that is a subconscious yes. If he sees her, and his face remains flat or static, the interest might not be there from the jump.
Okay, so the flash happens first. Then what about the staring? Because there is a very fine line between a romantic gaze and a serial killer stare.
There is, and this is where we get into the concept of the copulatory gaze.
The copulatory gaze, that sounds intense.
Profound. It's prolonged eye contact. We know that holding eye contact for more than a few seconds triggers oxytocin release in the brain.
Right.
It literally builds that chemical bond. But the nuance is in the blinking. When people are attracted to each other, they often subconsciously synchronize their blinking rates. It's another subtle form of mirroring.
Wow.
But there is also the slow blink, or, more accurately, a reduced blinking rate.
Like they're in a trance.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When we are captivated by something, a beautiful painting, a sunset, or a person, we blink less. The brain is prioritizing the visual input. We are afraid of missing even a visual second of the person. We are, in a very real sense, drinking them in with our eyes.
Now, are there gender differences here? Does Bob look at Alice differently than Alice looks at Bob?
There are some general statistical trends, yes. Men are more likely to hold a fixed, prolonged gaze to show interest. It can be almost aggressive in its focus.
The laser beam look.
Right. Whereas women are more likely to use quick, darting glances. They'll look away, and then look back. It's a more coy form of engagement. It invites pursuit.
So if Bob is staring, he's likely interested. If Alice keeps glancing and looking away, she's also likely interested.
Generally speaking, yes. But you have to look for the warmth in the eyes, that crinkling at the corners, the Duchenne marker, which indicates a genuine happy smile. If it's just a wide-eyed, unblinking stare with no smile,
Run.
run.
Right, we want the Duchenne smile, not the shark smile. Okay, let's move down from the face. The eyes are the window to the soul, but the body does a lot of talking too. You've mentioned the limbic system a few times. How does that control our posture?
This is a concept that a lot of behavioral experts, like former FBI agent Joe Navarro, talk about. The limbic system, our emotional brain, is very, very simple in its reactions. It basically has only two modes, comfort or discomfort.
Safe or unsafe? Like or dislike, that's it.
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
binary.
Yeah.
And our body language constantly broadcasts which of those two modes we're in.
Okay, so what does discomfort look like?
When we are in discomfort mode, we engage in blocking behaviors. We cross our arms over our chest. We hunch our shoulders. We turn our body away. We protect the neck and the belly, our vital organs. It's a subconscious guarding posture.
And when we're in comfort mode,
We do the opposite. We open up. We display our ventral side, the front, the neck, the chest, the stomach, the hips. We expose our most vulnerable organs to the person we trust and desire.
so if Alice is sitting across from Bob and her coat is unbuttoned, her arms are open on the table, and she's facing him squarely, that's a biological I like you.
It's a huge flashing green light of trust and comfort. And there is a specific trick here called the navel rule.
The navel rule, what's that?
Look at where their belly button is pointing.
Okay, why the belly button?
Because we often turn our heads to be polite. I can be talking to you right now, looking at your face, but my torso and my belly button might be pointed toward the door because I really want to leave. My limbic system is already exiting the room, even if my face is being polite.
Oh, I've definitely been that person at a party, nodding at someone while my whole body is angled toward the exit.
We all have. But if someone is attracted to you, their navel will align with yours. They turn their whole center of gravity toward you. It's like a subconscious gravitational pull. Even in a crowded room, you can tell who is genuinely interested in who by drawing a line from their navel.
To check the belly button, but you said earlier that the feet don't lie. Why the feet? Why are they more honest than, say, the face?
This is one of my absolute favorite tells. Think about how you were raised. You were told, wipe that look off your face, smile for grandma, don't roll your eyes.
Right.
We are trained from childhood to micromanage our facial expressions. We are, frankly, excellent liars with our faces.
That's true. I can fake a smile pretty easily.
But nobody ever tells you to control your feet. The feet are the furthest point from the brain. We rarely pay attention to them. So the feet often reveal the true underlying emotion while the face is busy putting on a mask.
They're like these rogue agents telling the truth.
They are. And similar to the navel rule, our feet point toward what we desire or where we want to go. If Alice and Bob are standing in a group of 3 people, Bob might be politely talking to the third person, but if both of his feet are angled directly at Alice, she is the true target of his attention.
That is such a good party trick. I'm going to be looking at everyone's feet from now on.
It's highly accurate. And there's another interesting foot signal, the pigeon-toed stance. Sometimes when people, especially if they are a bit shy or intimidated by their crush, will stand with their toes pointed inward.
Really? I always associate that with being awkward or unconfident.
It is. But it indicates a specific mix of attraction and submissiveness. It says, I like you so much that you make me nervous, so I am making myself physically smaller in your presence. It can be a very endearing signal of vulnerability.
That's actually kind of cute. Now, are there other differences here between how men and women signal this kind of body comfort?
There are some general trends that we see. Men often engage in what we call peacocking or space-claiming behaviors.
Like man spreading on the subway.
In a way, yes. Arms akimbo, so hands on hips, spreading the legs whether sitting or standing. It's a display of size, confidence, and dominance. It's testosterone-driven. The subconscious message is, look at me. I am big. I am capable. I can protect you.
And women. What are the typical signals?
Women often engage in signals that emphasize vulnerability or what we call preening. One classic signal is exposing the neck by tilting the head to the side.
You're exposing the jugular vein.
Exactly. It's a universal sign of submission and trust across the animal kingdom. It says, I am safe with you. I am not protecting my most vital artery from you. Also, things like playing with hair, adjusting clothing, or touching the wrist. These are preening behaviors.
Why do we do that?
Two reasons. One, we want to look our best for the person. But two, remember all that norepinephrine and adrenaline? It makes us fidgety. We need to do something with that nervous energy, so we touch our hair, our clothes, our neck. It's self-soothing.
And men do that too, right? The self-soothing.
Absolutely. Men will often touch the back of their neck, rub their chin, or touch their face. It's a way to calm the nervous system down. Because remember, on the inside, they are just as revved up as Alice is.
One thing I've noticed, and I think everyone has, is that when I really like someone, I start, well, acting like them. I use their slang. I sit like they sit. Is that a real thing?
That is a huge thing. It's called isopraxis, or more commonly, mirroring. It's also known as the chameleon effect.
The chameleon effect. I like that.
We subconsciously copy the posture, the gestures, the speech patterns, even the breathing rate of people we like and feel rapport with.
Why do we do that? What's the point?
It creates a powerful feedback loop. It non-verbally signals, I am like you, we are the same, you are safe with me. It validates the other person and builds an instant connection without a single word.
It's like a biological ditto.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. And you can actually test this. It's a fun little experiment for Alice to try on Bob. If she takes a sip of her drink, she should wait a few seconds and watch him.
And if he drinks too.
If Bob takes a sip of his drink within the next 5 to 10 seconds, he is very likely mirroring her. It shows he's locked in.
That is diabolical. I love it.
It's a great litmus test for rapport. And you can see the opposite too. If they're totally out of sync, Alice leans in, Bob leans back, Alice takes a drink, Bob crosses his arms. The connection, the comfort might not be there.
Okay, so we've checked the eyes, we've checked the feet, we've done the drink test. Now let's talk about the voice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my voice definitely changes when I'm around a crush. I get a little weird.
Weird is probably accurate. Vocal modulation is a huge part of the attraction signal package. There's a phenomenon researchers call loveries.
Loveries. Is that like motherese, like baby talk?
It's exactly like that. You know how people talk to babies or puppies? Who's a good boy? The pitch gets higher, the rate of speech slows down, it becomes more sing-songy.
Please tell me we don't do that to our dates. I really don't want to talk to Bob like he's a golden retriever.
We do a much more subtle version of it. When we speak to someone we feel tender towards, our voice instinctively softens. The pitch becomes more variable and melodic. We speak a little slower. It signals warmth and non-aggression. It's a subconscious way of saying, I am not a threat, I am nurturing.
But doesn't the pitch change depending on gender?
It does, and this is where it gets interesting. Generally, men tend to lower their voice pitch when speaking to someone they are attracted to.
Why is that?
It's associated with testosterone and masculinity. A deep voice is evolutionarily linked to larger body size and strength. So Bob might subconsciously drop his voice an octave to sound more manly and dominant.
And Alice? Does she go higher?
It's complex. Women often do raise their pitch, signaling femininity and youth. But interestingly, some research shows that if a woman is speaking to a man she finds extremely attractive, she might actually lower her pitch slightly.
Why would she do that?
A couple of theories. One is to match his level, to create more vocal harmony. Another is to avoid sounding too eager or shrill and to project a bit more confidence and allure.
So it's a dance.
Absolutely a dance. We call it pitch matching or vocal synchronization. Regardless of whether you go high or low, the ultimate goal is to match the other person's energy. If Bob is speaking softly, Alice will start speaking softly. If Bob is excited and talking quickly, Alice's rate of speech will likely increase to match.
And that leads into the conversation itself. It's not just how we say it, but what we say. How do we know if the conversation is flirty or just, friendly?
The key metric here is reciprocity, and specifically a concept called reciprocal candor.
Reciprocal candor. Okay, break that down for me.
It's the dance of vulnerability. Let's say Alice shares a small personal story or a minor secret, something like, I'm so nervous I spilled coffee on my shirt right before I left.
Okay.
If Bob just responds by nodding and saying, oh, cool, or That's too bad. The door is closed. But if Bob responds by matching her vulnerability, by sharing a secret of his own, like, don't worry, I tripped walking in here, he has reciprocated her candor. He's escalated the intimacy.
It's like a game of tennis. I hit the ball over the net, and you have to hit it back.
Exactly. And active listening is a huge part of that return volley. It's not just hearing the words, it's remembering the small details. If Alice mentions in passing that she loves a specific obscure band, and 3 days later Bob sends her a link to their new song,
That's a huge signal.
it's a massive signal of attraction. It shows he was paying close attention. There's a psychological principle called self-essentialist reasoning. It means that if I remember the small, unique details about you, it subconsciously signals that I believe we share an essence. I am investing in your world.
And what about humor? Laughter.
Laughter is absolutely critical.
Right.
Laughter is, at its core, a tension release mechanism. Because attraction involves all that stress and anxiety we talked about earlier, laughing together is a way to release that pressure. Shared laughter is one of the strongest indicators of compatibility. And then, of course, there's teasing.
Teasing can be tricky, though. It can go wrong and just be mean.
It has to be what we call playful allure. It can't be a genuine insult. Teasing is a safe way to test boundaries. If Bob playfully teases Alice about her ridiculously complicated coffee order, he is entering her personal space verbally. He's gently poking her.
And you watch her reaction.
You watch her reaction. If she laughs and pokes back, they have just established a new level of playful intimacy. It says, we're close enough now that I can make fun of you without you getting offended.
Right. It's an inside joke in the making.
Precisely. It's building a shared world.
Okay, we've covered a lot of the face-to-face stuff, but let's be real. We live in 2026. A huge amount of our courting doesn't happen in a coffee shop anymore. It happens on a screen.
Absolutely.
And honestly, this is where I get completely lost. I feel like I can read a face, but I cannot read a text message to save my life. The anxiety is real.
You are not alone. This is the new frontier. Digital body language. And it's so crucial because we lose 90% of our traditional communication tools. Tone of voice, eye contact, posture, when we're just looking at text on a screen. So we've had to invent new ones.
So what are the rules? How do we read the signals in the matrix?
The first big concept is digital proxemics. Just like we have physical personal space, we have a sense of digital personal space. And the biggest variable there is time.
Response time, the absolute bane of my existence.
Is the source of so much modern anxiety. And for good reason. In the physical world, if I ask you a question and you just stare at me in silence for 2 full minutes before answering, that's incredibly weird and unsettling.
Right, I'd assume you were having a medical issue.
Exactly. In the digital world, response time signals priority. An immediate reply usually signals either high anxiety or, more often, high interest. It says, I am holding my phone waiting for you. You are my priority right now.
But then there's the game. The whole wait 3 hours so I don't look desperate move. We all know people do it.
They absolutely do, but here's where the psychology gets really interesting. By being inconsistent, they are putting you on a variable reward schedule.
What does that mean?
Think of a slot machine in a casino. You pull the lever, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That unpredictability is precisely what makes it so addictive.
So if Bob texts Alice back instantly sometimes and then waits 4 hours other times, he is turning himself into a human slot machine.
Exactly. It creates a powerful dopamine loop in her brain. When will he text? Why hasn't he texted? It mimics the chemistry of addiction we talked about earlier. However, and this is a big hill, however well that can create obsession, it doesn't create safety or security.
So the game might get you hooked, but consistency is what builds a real relationship.
Correct. Secure mutual attraction usually looks like consistency. If they reply to you in a reasonably consistent time frame, that signals secure interest, not a game. Now let's talk about message length symmetry.
Oh, the wall of text versus the single letter K.
The ultimate digital tragedy.
Okay.
This goes right back to mirroring. If Alice sends a thoughtful 3-paragraph story about her day and Bob replies with lol, that is a massive asymmetry.
It feels awful.
It's an imbalance of investment and effort. Mutual attraction usually looks visually symmetrical on the screen. You send a chunk of text, they send a similar sized chunk of text back. The conversation looks balanced.
What about punctuation? Because I feel like in texting, a period at the end of a sentence can be an act of war.
It absolutely can be. We now have something called textual paralanguage.
Yeah.
We use punctuation and capitalization to convey the tone that's missing from our voice. A period at the end of a short sentence like, I'm fine, is often read as aggression, anger, or finality.
Whereas I'm fine with no punctuation is just casual.
Right, and the exclamation point has basically become the fake smile of texting.
It has.
It's an appeasement signal. It screams, I am friendly, this is a joke, please don't be mad. People who like each other tend to use more exclamation points and softer punctuation to ensure their tone isn't misread as cold or angry.
And emojis, where do they fit in?
Emojis are the nonverbal cues of the digital age. They are a direct replacement for the smile, the tone of voice, the eyebrow flash. Generally speaking, high emoji use correlates with high agreeableness and a stronger desire for social connection. But the real tell is emoji mirroring.
So copying the specific emojis the other person uses.
Yes. If Alice starts using the monkey covering its eyes emoji a lot, and suddenly Bob starts using that same monkey emoji when he never did before, that is digital isopraxis. He is subconsciously adopting her dialect. He is trying to speak her language to build rapport.
That is so subtle, but it makes so much sense.
And there's a cultural dimension here that is just fascinating. Research has compared Western and East Asian digital communication styles. In Western cultures, like the U.S., we tend to be very direct with our words. We say, I miss you, or I like you. But we use emojis more functionally.
Like a thumbs up to confirm a plan.
Right. But in high-context cultures, like many East Asian cultures, where verbal directness about romantic feelings can be seen as too bold or embarrassing, they often use very indirect words, like, did you eat? Or, it's cold today, wear a jacket. But they use very direct, romantic emojis.
So the emoji is doing the heavy lifting.
The emoji carries the emotional weight that the words cannot. So a heart emoji from someone in a high-context culture might carry significantly more weight than one from a Westerner. The emoji is the subtext.
That is fascinating. So the heart emoji might mean more depending on where you're from. I want to touch on one more digital thing, orbiting, because this drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
When someone watches every single one of your stories on social media but never texts you back, what is that?
That is a low-effort way of maintaining digital object permanence.
Yeah.
They want to keep you in their periphery. They are maintaining a parasocial connection, a one-sided one. It keeps the possibility of you alive in their mind without requiring any of the effort of a real interaction.
So it's a sign of low interest.
It's often a sign of low-effort interest or just validation seeking rather than genuine pursuit. If they wanted to talk to you, they would.
So if he's watching but not typing, he's just keeping you on the shelf.
That's a very likely interpretation, yes. True attraction involves initiation. Who starts the chat? In a mutual crush, it should be roughly 50-50 over time. If you are initiating 90% of the conversations, you are chasing.
And if they are initiating 90%, you're being chased.
Exactly. Mutual attraction seeks and finds a balance.
And the classic good morning text. Is it just a cliche or a real sign?
It's a very significant sign. Timing matters a great deal. A good morning text means you are the first thought of their day. A good night text means you are the last. That is prime real estate in someone's brain. You can't ask for a clearer signal than that.
Prime real estate. I like that. Okay, so we've gathered all this data. We've analyzed the pupils, the feet, the punctuation. But I want to pull back to the big picture for a minute. Why do we feel this chemistry? Is it just a checklist of biological signals?
It's a mix. And it's not just one thing. Researchers have actually identified 9 specific elements that together make up what we call chemistry.
Okay, give me the list. What are the 9?
All right, they are positive interaction, mutuality, comfort, compatibility, similarity, that unexplainable spark, sexual attraction, intense fixation, and finally, physiological response.
That's a lot. An unexplainable spark is one of them, so science admits some of it is just magic.
In a way, yes. But here is the real kicker from that research. In studies where people described the chemistry they felt, physiological response, the sweaty palms, the racing heart we talked about, was actually the least reported element. Only about 6% of people mentioned it.
Wait, really? But we just spent the first half of this deep dive talking about how intense the biology is.
The biology is absolutely happening, but we don't always consciously perceive it as the main event. We perceive the vibe. People notice comfort and mutuality far more than they note of their own pulse. We feel the connection more than we feel the symptom.
That makes perfect sense. I don't think my norepinephrine is spiking right now. I think, wow, I feel so happy and safe with this person.
Exactly. And this actually leads us to a very important danger zone we need to address. The difference between a healthy crush and something called limerence.
Limerence. I've heard this term before. It sounds like a Victorian disease.
It was a term coined by psychologist Dorothy Tenoff back in the 70s. Limerence is essentially the dark side of attraction. It has all the hallmarks of a crush, the intrusive thoughts, the obsession, but it's desperate for reciprocation. And the key difference is that limerence relies on and thrives on uncertainty.
So uncertainty actually feeds it.
Yes, in a healthy attraction, you eventually move from that frantic dopamine rush to a calmer oxytocin bond. You build trust, you build safety, and you can relax. Limerence gets stuck in that dopamine craving loop. You get addicted to the maybe.
Does he like me? I don't know.
That anxiety is what keeps the high going. It focuses on the glimmer, the idealized fantasy of who the person is, rather than the reality of who they are.
So if you are constantly anxious and obsessing for months and months and you never feel safe or secure, that might not be love. That might be limerence.
Precisely. Healthy love eventually calms down and feels like coming home. Limerence is a perpetual state of crisis.
That is a very, very important distinction. We also touched on culture with the emojis, but does attraction look different around the world in a bigger sense?
Drastically. We can generally divide cultures into low context and high context.
Okay, give me an example.
Low context cultures like the USA, Germany, or Australia are very explicit. The words mean what they say. If I like you, I say, I like you, let's go on a date. Verbal affirmation is the main currency of affection.
Right. We want to hear the words.
Yes. But high context cultures, like many in Asia, Latin America, or the Middle East, are much more implicit. Attraction and love are shown through doing, through acts of service. I cook for you, I carry your heavy bag, I fix your car.
Actions speak louder than words.
And this causes major misunderstandings in intercultural relationships. A Westerner might be dating an Asian partner and think, he never says he loves me, he must be so cold.
Right.
Meanwhile, that partner is thinking, I fixed her sink last week, I drove her to the airport at 5 a.m., I cooked her favorite meal. Why does she keep asking if I love her? I show her every day.
She's waiting for the words. He's waiting for her to notice the actions.
Exactly. You have to learn the currency of attraction that is spoken by the person you're with. It's not always the same as yours.
That is such a good point. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground. We've gone from dopamine spikes in the VTA to pigeon-toed feet to emoji psychology. So, let's wrap this all up for Alice and Bob and for everyone listening. If I have a crush, what is the main takeaway? What do I do with all this information?
You look for the whole body, yes.
The whole body, yes.
It is rarely, if ever, just one sign. A pupil dilation could just mean it's dark. A crossed leg could just mean they're cold, or that's how they're comfortable sitting. You have to use the cluster rule.
Clusters, not just one signal.
Look for the combination. Are they mirroring your drink sip? And D, are their feet pointing at you? And D, are they sending you texts with emojis that match yours? And D, did they give you the eyebrow flash when you first met?
It's the constellation of evidence, not a single star.
Exactly. And finally, you have to learn to trust your intuition. Your brain is an evolutionary supercomputer that has been designed over millions of years to detect these very signals. If you feel the spark, you are likely subconsciously processing thousands of these tiny micro-cues that your conscious mind hasn't even had time to name yet.
So if it feels real, there's a good chance it is.
There's a very high probability. But I want to leave you with one final thought, a bit of a twist on everything we've discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
We spend so much time and energy analyzing their signals. Did his pupil dilate? Did her voice go up a pitch? What did that text mean? We're like detectives looking for clues about them.
Constantly.
But the most revealing signal, the most accurate data point you have, might actually be your own.
My own signals.
Yes. The next time you're with someone and you're wondering if the chemistry is real, just for a moment, stop looking at them and look at yourself. Are your feet pointing at them? Is your voice changing? Are you the one mirroring their posture? Are you checking your phone every 30 seconds hoping for their name to pop up? Sometimes your body knows you're in love long before your brain even has a clue.
Wow. That is the truth. Stop analyzing them and just check your own belly button.
Check your own belly button.
I love it. Thank you so much for walking us through this. This has been absolutely fascinating.
My pleasure. It was fun.
And thank you for listening to the deep dive. Go out there, read the signs, trust your gut, and maybe take a peek at your own feet. We'll see you next time.